Welcome to episode number 36 of the Hero's Journey Project. We're back again. We're looking at Golden Age comics. On the last episode, we left off in June 1944. So we'll be picking up comics from June 1944 in this episode. Fun stuff, right? Look, let's get right down to it. Let's see what kind of fun stuff I've been reading this week. 10 books. Here we go. So first up, we have Leading Comics, number 11. This is a summer issue from DC of 1944. Now, this is the first 52-page issue, and that's down from 60 pages. It's a goofy cover. I don't know, big hat. I mean, I get it. The hat is the main part of the story, which I'll tell you about in a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like it's just a jumble of elements on a page, and I don't know, not really a lot of thought as to how they could have really worked that out, but what are you gonna do? So the story goes, Handsome Harry loses his lucky hat, and the 7 soldiers of victory, to recap, that's Vigilante, Green Arrow, Speedy, Star Spangled Kid, Striped Sea, Crimson Avenger, and Shining Knight with Wing. It should be 8, I know, that's my thing. Anyway, so 7 soldiers of victory encounter all sorts of crooks who find this lucky hat, but it brings them bad luck because 7 soldiers of victory keep taking them down. Anyway, finally, when Harry gets his hat back, it turns out to be his downfall also. Guess it wasn't a lucky hat after all. That's why it's called the hard luck hat. Anyway, we have a recent CGC 6.0 sale from October of 2020 for $288. Next up, Marvel Mystery Comics number 56. This is from June 1944. But you got an Alex Schomburg cover. You got red dress, bondage, all that stuff on the cover. That's a good looking cover, of course. I mean, I really wish you could see more of the details if the trade dress wasn't taking up about a third of the page there. But it's Alex Schomburg cover, so Human Torch is blasting through a wall. Lots of details, lots of stuff going on. A little bit of shooting, a little bit of sword fighting. Guy with the claw hand. Never get tired of looking at all the details in these covers. Love them or hate them. That's your thing. I like them. Okay, so Human Torch and Toro are after Nazi spies that use dance hall girls to get information, and then they kill them. Submariner discovers a decoy Japanese naval fleet made of cardboard in the Pacific. So the Japanese launch this huge naval convoy, and the idea was that, you look left while they sneak the real convoy over on the right. Miss America uncovers a scheme to knock out rich victims with poisoned roses and rob them. The Patriot rescues Mary Morgan from a Swami who hypnotizes people into giving up military secrets. So Mary Morgan, just a recap, going back a little while, in one of the stories, she was injected with some type of serum, and she was sort of given these powers, but they really didn't manifest themselves. And we haven't seen anything since that one story. So I'm really waiting to see what's going to happen with her, because I believe Mary Morgan does become Miss Patriot at some point, and I think that'd be sooner rather than later, considering, she did get injected. So see what happens. The Angel breaks up a gang of black market tire dealers who also attempt to blackmail a politician for making a purchase. You have a recent CGC 4.0 sale from July of 2020 for $1,400. Now, what's interesting is that this is not the big book of the week, and it's surprising considering you have an Alex Schomburg cover with red dress, bondage, and the whole bit. Kind of a lot going on there. You would think that would be the magic formula. Didn't quite make it. Now, I did want to highlight the art from this issue. I just thought it looked really good. I thought it was really good art. I thought the lettering was a little different, but I really like it. The uniqueness of the lettering is kind of really nice. You've got a lot of details on these pages, a lot of foreground, background, very three-dimensional. I mean, I could have picked any page from this story, but I figured this was, I figured it was a good one to highlight. And yeah, just want to say colors, details, background, foreground, lettering, these things were great throughout this whole story. So I really did enjoy the art in this book. Next up, we have Master Comics number 51. This is from Fawcett, June 1944. Got Captain Marvel Jr. there on the cover. Looks like he's trying to get everyone on board with his plan and directing everyone. It's good. It's an interesting cover. I like. I mean, it doesn't like stand out or anything, but I do. I like the theme of the cover. How about that? I like what's going on the cover. It doesn't stand out as, you know, masterful piece of art or anything to me, but and that's just because there's too much dark, not enough contrast. But that's a whole other thing. This is the first 44-page issue. That's down from 52 pages. Captain Marvel Jr. investigates vandals defacing statues in a park and finds that their bigger plan is to alter the heads on Mount Rushmore. Radar heads to South America to take down a counterfeit money and gun running ring for the Nazis. So Radar is off on his own adventure, which is great. Like this guy, kind of a fun character. It's a good story, actually. Looking ahead, though, I'm a little disappointed that we won't get to see enough of him. This guy could have really gone places. We have a recent CGC 7.0 sale from January of 2017, so 4 years ago, for $238. Next up, we have Police Comics number 31. This is from Quality, June 1944. Now I'm going to tell you, I also like this cover. So this is sort of kind of the opposite of the reason I like the Alex Schomburg cover. Alex Schomburg covers, I love them because of all the detail and everything that's going on. Just very interesting. This one is more about the simplicity of the art on the cover. I really like the use of the white space. I think Jack Cole does a fantastic job on his Plastic Man covers when he's using the negative space. He just really, the elements all seem to be placed in great proportion, and yeah, the elements all line up. I really like these covers. It's simple but really effective, and the subjects really pop on the cover. You know, the trade dress always takes away from these things, and that's kind of, you can't really fault for that. So I try to ignore that as much as I can. Plastic Man almost gives up when the Mangler kidnaps Woozywinks so that he can continue to run his clinic that makes healthy draftees able to skip the draft by becoming unhealthy 4Fs. So 4Fs were, I believe if you were 1A, that was meant you were in top physical condition for the Army. 4Fs were people who were not able to pass the physical and were just noted as not physically able to join Uncle Sam's army. I know there's maybe a little bit more to it than that, but that's, I believe, the gist of it. I think we're good there. I do want to say that I'm very happy not to live in a time where it's possible that I could be drafted to the military. I can't imagine that kind of stress and fear. Human Bomb and Eustace Throckmorton work to take down a magician that escaped from prison. We have a recent CGC 8.0 sale from 2000. The recent CGC 8.0 sale from June 2019 for $216. Seems a little low to me, maybe because I'm a little fond of these Jack Cole covers. But 8.0 seems quite a high grade for a book of this age. All right. Next up, we have Sensation Comics number 30. This is from June 1944. Another great Harry G. Peter cover. I do like the art. The elements are a little kind of blend into each other, so nothing really stands out. So in terms of, I think it's interesting, but not my favorite Peter cover. Wonder Woman travels to the fourth dimension to rescue Steve Trevor. It's on the cover there. You can see Steve Trevor is in the fourth dimension. It looks like apparently in the fourth dimension, you are what you believe you are. It's great. Next up, Mr. Terrific uses a cat to fool to fool some thieves into giving themselves away. Mr. Terrific knows everything, can do anything, trains a cat to perform a simple trick, and he uses simple psychology, which he knows all about because he's such a genius. After that, Wildcat helps out an aspiring musician turned boxer that is being set up to lose by his brother. You have a recent CGC 4.5 sale from January of 2021 for $503. Moving right along, Star Spangled Comics, number 33. This is June 1944 issue from DC. It's interesting cover, another patriotic type of cover for these guys. Very common for this era for sure. It's an okay cover. There's definitely a bit of contrast in the colors. I do sort of like it. Anyway, the Guardian and the Newsboy Legion break up a scheme by a pair of thieves posing as high society, husband and wife. Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy are up against a gang that has recruited a guy with an iron jaw that Stripesy just can't knock down. Liberty Bell is at a track meet for 4 allied nations when Nazis try to sabotage it and turn the countries against each other. Robot Man gets some help from Robbie the Robot Dog by sniffing out thieves who robbed some diamond smugglers. You have a recent CGC 9.6 sale from November of 2020 for $1,920. It does impress me when these things still survive in that high a grade. Now, I'll show you a couple images from this book. So this is the splash page for the first page of the Guardian and Newsboy Legion story. I just thought the invitation was kind of clever and amusing. I'll read it out to you in case you can't read cursive. Who knows? The Suicide Slum Pleasure Club is overjoyed to announce the marriage of one of its founding fathers, Sloppy Sam the Dip, to a classy society dame with plenty of jack. There will be easy pickings at the reception to be held after the ceremony. All presents will be cheerfully hawked by Mike the Fence. I just thought that was a fun invitation for the story for these two people that are posing as high society people. Next up, I thought this was interesting. If you look on the bottom right of this page, or the slide, you'll see the 4 flags of the United Nations. Really, it's the 4 major allied forces. You have US, UK, Soviet Union, and the Republic of China. And this was formed before the United Nations we know today. The United Nations we know today was formed shortly after World War II. So these guys were known as the United Nations. And just the major allied powers. I just thought that was really interesting. I didn't realize that they'd ever been referred to as United Nations. I just thought they were just the allies. Okay. USA Comics number 13. This is the summer of 1944 issue from Timely. Guess what? Another Alex Schomburg cover. You can tell his style, right? Bucky shooting some Japanese soldiers. Cap America about to throw a bomb, and they're driving in with this tank of a bulldozer thing they've got going. It's great. It's great. Again, really wish the trade dress wasn't taken away so much, and that USA doesn't need to be that big. All right, well, Captain America and Bucky answer a call for help at a spooky castle and are met by Frankenstein's monster created by a woman who foolishly thought she could get the monster to kill enemies of the Nazis. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm seeing this a lot, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but in a lot of the Timely books, certainly the Captain America, Young Allies, Bucky, you see a lot of horror type themes, and I know that we're moving slowly into that with a lot of the Timely books, and we get into like that pre-code horror that the other publishers will be putting out at the time. Yeah, it's just interesting. It's not Captain America fighting against, some other superheroes. It's a lot of horror themed stuff. Okay, I forgot to put the red star on this slide, but this is the big book of the week because you have a recent CGC 4.0 sale from December of 2020, and that went for a whopping $1,851. So $1,851 for this issue in a 4.0 grade. After that, we have Whiz Comics number 55. It's a Fawcett issue from June 1944. Based on the cover, it looked like, you get teased a little bit, looked like you were going to discover Captain Marvel's family tree and figure out his ancestry and who he came from, this and that. Turns out it was a whole, it was just a scam put on by this fake genealogist. Well, here, I'll read you the description I put together. Captain Marvel hears about his family tree from a fake genealogist trying to blackmail Sterling Morris with some fake long-lost relatives. So, yeah, and for some reason, if you have a long-lost relative, they can just come out of the woodwork and say, hey, you owe me money. What? Apparently has like Sterling Morris had some fourth cousin or something who said, hey, you owe me money, you need to pay me because I'm related to you, which I didn't really understand how that worked specifically, but sure. Now, I was interested to see that reading this story, I thought maybe they would talk about that Black Marvel character and maybe see if it related to Black Adam that comes later and see if it was some sort of precursor to that character. But it turns out this whole thing was fake. So they're not real characters and that's not a real appearance. So it can't even talk about a prototype or some sort of retcon situation, anything fun like that. So I didn't get the cool nugget of information that I thought I might be able to bring. Ibis the Invincible takes down the escaped convict Trug and his monkey that sends out freeze blasts. You have recent CGC 8.5 sale from December of 2020 for $264, which seems really low to me to have an issue of 8.5 high enough grade. I'm assuming probably presents quite well. For $264. I think someone got a bargain out of that. Okay, Wonder Woman number 9. This is DC Summer 1944. Here, G. Peter up again, doing the cover. I like this cover better than the last one. I believe it's the yellow background that makes the elements in the foreground pop. So this was a story told in 3 parts. In part 1, Wonder Woman watches as Professor Zool's electronic evolutionizer transforms an ape into Giganta. Oh, sorry. The ape's name was Giganta, but it turns her into Giganta, who's Wonder Woman's new enemy, and the machine malfunctioned, de-evolving the world around them. So this is the first appearance and origin of Giganta. Here, we'll just do a quick little, put a slide together. So this is, on the left, is the first panel where Giganta appears. This is on the first page of the first part of the story. So page 1 didn't make the cover, unfortunately, but that's what Giganta looked like as the ape. And then the second panel that I put in there is her going through that electronic evolutionizer that can make things go forward and backwards through evolutionary time. So start off as an ape, and then now she goes forward, and it just looks like turns into just your average everyday modern woman. However, her evolution didn't go all the way, and she's a cave woman at this point, so she still has some primal tendencies, I guess. She's not quite as evolved or as sophisticated as the rest of us. All right, so it's great to have first appearance and origin of Giganta. Giganta has a good few hundred appearances in comic books and that's her first appearance going forward into the modern age. So we will hear from her again. Now, the next feature in this Wonder Woman issue was the Wonder Women of History, and it featured Jane Addams. She was an important leader in the history of social work and women's suffrage in the United States and advocated for world peace. All right, go Jane. Part 2 of the story, Wonder Woman fixes the electronic evolutionizer, but only has enough electricity to move evolution forward again partway. She also has to deal with an evil uprising in the Golden Age. And then in part 3, Wonder Woman moves forward in time to ancient Greece. And during that period, she discovers that her magic lasso is charged with electric energy. So it seems like that's something that we've discovered just in this issue. New detail revealed about what her magic lasso can do. So that's kind of fun. We have a recent CGC 7.0 sale from August of 2020 for an even $2,000. And our last issue is World's Finest Comics number 14. It's from DC. It's a summer 1944 issue. Certainly looks like a summer issue with these kids swimming around and the thing. I mean, it says no swimming. Are the heroes actually going to jump in and swim? That would be breaking the rules. I can't imagine. Pins and needles. I'm waiting to find out. I mean, I got to say, a lot of these World's Finest comics, they are fun scenes, usually on the cover for the most part that we've seen so far. So, but they're not like gripping action scenes. So I believe, I don't know how much of a draw there is for this kind of book. But a lot of heroes in it, a lot of content in there if you're a fan. Superman foils the attempted robbery of some rubies. Nope. Superman foils the attempted robbery of some rubies and follows the trail to a remote hideout where Lois Lane has been kidnapped. She's been kidnapped once again. Also, a hermit is trying to get rid of visitors, and some scientists are trying to help humanity. So all these scientists, the hermit, bad guys, they're all in this one area trying to sort things out. The hermit's not happy about it because he was there first, and he just wants everyone to get lost. After that, you have the Green Arrow and Speedy, who stop some thieves attempting to rob some bonds from broker exchange using a hidden man in a hollowed out statue. Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy break up a gang trying to what is wrong with me today? Star Spangled Kid and Stripesy break up a gang trying to put competing entertainment venues out of business. Zatara boosts the confidence of a would-be hypnotist and it gets him into trouble. Then Zatara must clean up his own mess. Batman and Robin discover the scheme to torpedo boats in a harbor, score the salvage rights, resell the salvage rights, hijack the cargo, and blow up the sunken ship to cover up the crime. This is quite the scheme that was going on. Batman and Robin, they don't just solve crimes on land. See as well. Recent CGC 5.5 sale from December of 2020 for $570. That's it. So this is, I mean, it's I want to say $570 seems like an okay price for this book. It's a big, thick book, lots of content, lots of heroes in it. You got Batman, Superman, and Robin on the cover, but I don't think the cover is that much of a draw. If the cover was better, I feel like these better in terms of the action on the cover. I feel like these books would go for a lot more. That's my guess. Well, that is it. Those are all 10 books that I read for this week. We're still in June 1944. That's because we're at the quarter. Anytime you're at a quarter, it takes me a little longer to get through them because some of these books were published bi-monthly and quarterly, and they seem to kind of land on the quarterlies a lot. So that is that. I will work on reading another 10 books for the next week. And then we'll be able to, since we're on World's Finest from W, we will be able to finish off June of 1944, move on to the next month. Very exciting. Second half of the year. So yeah, things moving along. A lot of new things going on. We had a new villain this week that showed up. We had a couple comics that had page reductions. Yeah, things are plugging right along, seeing where these characters are going. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate any comments you want to leave. I'll be happy to respond to all of them. So far, there's not too many, so I can handle that, and I can say that easily. But yeah, feel free to comment, respond, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff so that we can keep this going. Thank you very much.